amount of fossil fuel we burn, the amount of environment we destroy to get firewood for lack of clean cooking in our continent is something that we believe clean mobility is coming in as a major component to address. And so I'm really pleasantly surprised at the rate industry is developing to support us move the mobility industry from the traditional fuel, fossil fuel, to using our green energy. You know, for those of us, I'm sure I see most Kenyans here, we're very proud when we go out there. I've just come back from an international renewable energy conference in Abu Dhabi. And every speaker who speaks makes reference to Kenya because of the 92% energy mix on our grid today. So when we talk e-mobility, we're talking about green energy really fueling our vehicles and giving us that advantage where we do not have to spend our 500 million US dollars. I said 500 million US dollars every month to import fossil fuel, burn to run our mobility industry, to run our industries, to be able to run our economies. We could tap solar, tap wind, tap our geothermal, which is at 92% today, with the commitment of 100% by the close of this decade, and be able to move the mobility industry using green energy, green renewable energy. So that's very exciting. Many of you last week will have noted that our president was voted as one of the topmost, 100 topmost influential people in 2024 because of what he's doing or what we are doing as a country in the green space, in the renewable space, and that is equally too very, very exciting. So as we move this industry to e-mobility, and for the exhibits which I've seen today, I see a reality in really achieving significant renewable energy, not only in the power generation space, but also in the e-mobility space. So I want to encourage us to really not only take advantage of the business that is coming on. I remember during the early days of the mobile or the cellular technology, and a cellular phone was costing $200,000-300,000, and it was only basic voice, there was no data. And today, when you think you can buy a mobile handset, a smart mobile phone for 2,000 bob, and it is locally assembled in Earth River here, is exciting. So I think as really the front runners in the energy space, we today, as the energy sector, have published tariffs for e-mobility. We have 16 for peak and 8 shillings for off-peak. And as I walked through the exhibition and asked some informed questions, we are charging per minute, and we do not know whether we are selling a kilowatt hour or whether we are selling all sorts of units. But I do know that we are quickly working together to build regulations which will help us to standardize the operability of this e-mobility technology so that we can cut cost of doing business. If you think about today and the first exhibit where I stood on, they were able to demonstrate to me that a vehicle charged to capacity can actually run 3 kilometers per kilowatt hour. And if you are charging at night, at 3 kilowatt hour would cost you 24 shillings. That was a motorbike, sorry, that was a motorbike. So if you can really fuel your vehicle or your motorbike and run at 3 shillings, I think it was 3 shillings per kilometer, 3 shillings per kilometer. the first vehicle next to the door, 3 shillings per kilometer. It was actually the pickup, which is already Kenya Power is adopting and changing its maintenance fleet to e-mobility. And so you charge renewable, not just the conventional energy. You charge your vehicle with renewable energy, which is supposed to be expensive because it comes with a premium. And you do 3 kilometers per, what was that, 3 shillings per kilometer. 3 shillings per kilometer. Against 18 shillings per kilometer on that same pickup. Yeah? You're talking about, somebody was telling us about 25, 40, 50%. And 18 shillings and a 3 shillings is 6 times, 600%. 600%. Maybe because the regulations are not done, we'll have to levy a bit for the road maintenance and so on and so forth. But even if we levy at 100%, it will go to 6 shillings. 6 shillings against 18 is still 300%. So I really want to encourage industry who are the early risers in this space to help us to build good regulations, to price this frontier properly, and to encourage the way business is done. You don't do business by selling one bicycle at maybe, what's the price of a bicycle today? 50,000. Maybe a good mountain bike, 200,000. You build business by selling 10,000 bikes, not one. So that if we could actually price this industry well, the offtake would be very fast, and then we get to maturity where we can address the space of really climate change. And because even talking to Basico, I went to most of the exhibitions, and Basico tells us we have got 1,000. They aim to reach 1,000 buses in a while. They've got some outlook of how when they want to reach 1,000 buses. But in the market, they told me we have 20,000 buses. So my question was, why don't we move to 10,000 buses on e-mobility very quickly, instead of just moving? Because the market of fossil fuel like half, where the early risers will basically, it will flatten out and start coming down. But because technology is here and the world is moving because of climate change, it will be very fast. Whereas we are selling today the battery swapping and doing business on selling the fuel. This fuel is available in our homes. Everybody, I'm working very hard. I think we are at 80% access to electricity in our homes today. And we want to put electricity in every home by the year 2028, 2030. So if we've got electricity in the homes, do we see the business of charging? And yes, it is there. And I encourage us to grow this market by ensuring that if I drive to Nakuru, I'm able to charge my vehicle midway or before I get back to Nairobi. But even having said that, vehicles today are selling the modules with a home charging kit. So the industry is going to develop and grow very, very, very fast. And the real pioneers who will help us are sitting here today. And I want us to work together to make this a reality and actualize the e-mobility space that will bring down the cost of doing business, help us to manage the climate challenges, but more importantly, address the challenges of really not having to import fossil fuel into our country, which really damages the environment. So I just want to congratulate all of us for the great work we are doing. It is very exciting. From the bike, which is motorized today, you can exercise riding, and when you're a bit tired, you can put it on auto mode and it can move you up the hill. But I would encourage you that we pedal up the hill and motorize it down. That way we keep more healthy. So from the energy space, I also want to note that You know, Kenya as an economy in terms of industrial growth has really not been that big. That's why GDP to industrialization or power generation to GDP is at about 4-5%. The industrialization at about 7%. We develop about 150 megawatts of power to meet the demand. You know, the least cost power development plan for the Kenya Power team and the energy team who is here. We match supply and demand, because the challenge with power generation is if we supply where there is no demand, somebody has to pay. We are unable to store much power today as it were. But with e-mobility, it will help us to really store off that power as a fuel. And so we don't have to do so much battery energy storage systems, because in our vehicles, in our bicycles, in our motorbikes, we'll be able to store that power. And having done some studies and where we want to take Kenya in a very short time, within 3 years, it will be possible to double the demand of power annually from the current about 150, 160 megawatts annual demand that we then are forced to have to generate to about 300 to 400. Because this e-mobility industry is going to be big. And that will help us to really leverage on power generation that could go into this industry of e-mobility. Not to mention the unlocking of the manufacturing space under the e-manufacturing in the green special economic zones like Kengen, Green Park in Olkaria, and therefore really spur economic growth in our country. So these very exciting times for those of us in this space. Let's make the best in these very exciting times, but grow to be the real catalyst of economic change in supporting the e-mobility to grow. Let's not overprice it just because we are the inceptive period. In fact, if you remember the story of one mobile company who came and pitched the tariffs here on, they were charging per minute. Today we charge per second. I think the unit those days, if you make a phone call and it is answered and somebody tells you I'm traveling abroad, you thought your money will be finished, so you disconnect it immediately. But you already billed for 1 minute. Whether you talked for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, the billing unit was per minute. So when I walked through the floor this morning, you hear we are charging so much per minute. Somebody else, we are charging so much per hour. If I charge myself at home, I'll charge not per minute, but per kilowatt hour. So how do we tariff? How are we going to tariff the e-mobility space? And those are the things we need to work together and ensure that whereas we get return on our investment, reasonable return on our investment, we together work to grow this industry. It's very important. So that we don't sell 1,000 buses for Basigo, we put 10,000 buses on the road. Do the volume business, but more importantly, address the issues of climate as it were. So, Kenya Power, congratulations for running your second year e-mobility conference to help showcase what's happening. I'm sure by the time we are doing the second and the third year, we will not believe what we saw the previous year, because the space is moving pretty fast. So let me congratulate everybody for doing a great job. Congratulations, Kenya Power, for mounting this together. And it looks like the whole industry is there. And I want to encourage all of us to really move our economy and ensure that we are able to change and be that leader that we are today in the green energy space. It will help me. We are seriously planning. You know, power generation takes time. If you need 100 megawatts, it is planned today and it is delivered in 3 years. So we have to work smart, we have to work quickly to give you guys power for this e-mobility. Because like I've said, instead of generating 150, 160 megawatts every year, we now need to put on the grid an additional 150 megawatts on top of what we'd actually supply to meet the demand. And we want to do it at the best price so that going forward, we don't give us power at 8 shillings for off-peak. We give us power possibly at a lower rate and continue to make our economy more competitive. The other thing which is exciting about e-mobility, because of the fact that it helps us to store energy, is the fact that when I came in, I drew a graph on the energy usage during the 24-hour. And we've got off-peak hours between 11 o'clock at night or maybe 10 o'clock at night up to 6 in the morning. And that is when we are giving off-peak, when we are giving the tariff, the off-peak tariff, 8 shillings per kilowatt hour to charge our mobility industry. And what that will do for our economy is, instead of venting steam at night because we don't need so much power to run the economy, we can be able to encourage us to pick that power at night. And if we pick that power at night, it will actually go towards reducing the cost of power generation. So e-mobility, being a storage of energy system, can help us to overall bring down the cost of power in Kenya, bring down the cost of doing business. So it's a very exciting technology that, even as we talk today about battery storage system, e-mobility in itself is going to help us. You can imagine everybody will be carrying some little power in their car, in their bicycle, in their motorbike, and then so on and so forth. And if we can encourage them to pick at night when we are sleeping, because, I mean, you don't need to watch over your car if it is charging in the garage. It can then help us to pick that power at night, reduce the power usage during the day or the peak hour, and therefore levelize that graph and help us to contain the cost of energy in Kenya. And not just energy, green energy, green renewable energy. So again, congratulations Kenya Power for putting us together. We look forward to next year and see the great things that are happening in this space. And I was not here yesterday. I would have liked to be here, but we had a cabinet session. And but I want to confirm that we really and truly support this initiative of having an annual e-mobility conference to track and move ahead of everybody in this space. I want to thank you and again congratulate all of us for taking time to participate. For those who have come from out of the country, welcome to Kenya, and we encourage us as a region to continue working together in this space that will, like I've said, unlock the use of renewable energy, but more importantly, reduce the cost of imports in petroleum, in fossil petroleum products, given our trade imbalances, which are exacerbated or misbalanced by petroleum imports. So let me thank you and wish you a good afternoon, even as we look forward to coming to the close of this exhibition. Thank you.
Kuna mbomu
15 pounds.
nachukua mbomu.
Zinakwenda. Nahitaji diaper.
Kimeumana.
39.